If you love art supplies and you're curious about one of the most unique art stores in London, then this is the video for you. This is Cornelissen and Sons, which is a quaint little art shop in London. There is something about walking through art shops full of art supplies and all their possibilities that I just find so relaxing and so exciting. This applies to all art shops, but this one particularly stood out for its old vibe about it. As I walk through, I will share some of my experiences inside there. It has been quite a while since I've been there, but it's certainly a place that I would love to go back to. It has all the professional quality art supplies that we know and love, like the Schminke, the Winsor & Newtons, Sennelier, and even some new school, something that I wouldn't have expected, like the Liquitex. There were oil paints, watercolor paints, gouache, acrylics, and just so much more. They also had brushes, watercolor pads, sketchbooks, essentially any kind of professional quality art supply that you could think of. For the most part, it was here. This was even more likely if it was one of the more standard, professional, old school kind of brands. Like you can see the Faber-Castell and the Liquitex there, and in the corner the Woodies as well. So they were stocking the Woodies long before I actually knew about them and bought them. There's also pigments, which is great because I've now started making my own watercolors, and as I say, just a range of different supplies. I think the main con of this art store is that you're not going to find the best prices for the same supplies in this store. You're more likely to find better prices elsewhere. That being said, if you're in the area, if you like the vibe, if you just want to have a look around, or you want to support a small business, then this is a really cute art store to stop by. And a short walk away, there's also the beautiful art stores that I've been to before, one being the London Graphic Centre, which is a store that, again, because it's in Covent Garden, it doesn't have the cheapest prices, but it will do price match. So if you find a store online that is cheaper and you ask them at the till, they will match those prices online, so you'll probably save the most money there. And then in addition to that, there's also a beautiful store called Choosing Keeping that has really unique art supplies in there, and I've made videos highlighting both of these stores that I will leave linked for you. And none of these videos are sponsored, so make of this what you will. If I wanted to make a full day of just going to different art supply stores within walking distance, then I would probably start off with the London Graphic Centre. There I would probably, they have the biggest range of art supplies out of these three stores. They also have supplies that are, some of which are harder to get your hands on, and they will do price match. So in terms of making the most of your money, that's probably the store where you'll do that. But bearing in mind that perhaps their original prices are actually not as cheap as somewhere like Jackson's or other art supply stores. Then a very short walk away from there, maybe like 5 minutes, you'll find Choosing Keeping, which has a beautiful range of art supplies. These are perhaps supplies that are not as commercially easily accessible or easily available. A lot of them tend to be like handmade papers, Japanese watercolors, unique pastels, and more. Price point wise, it's probably the highest out of these three that I am talking about, but true, even without buying anything, it is a wonderful place to just go and see and feel inspired and see the craftsmanship of the art supplies that are actually being created. And I'd definitely say that the supplies there are more of an investment. When I went there, I just absolutely loved looking around. I didn't end up buying anything at the time, and it's funny because I've made a video talking about it because I actually went when I was doing a no buy, and that is actually the very same day that I came here. So I walked from Choosing Keeping to Cornelissen's, and it's interesting what I was talking about in that video and what Choosing Keeping stands behind is, actually making informed decisions and conscientious decisions about the art supplies that you buy, and then actually keeping them. So there's they pride themselves on the quality behind the art supplies. And in the video I was talking about how it's choosing, keeping, and I'll add one, which is using, and how I'm trying to be more conscientious about actually using all the supplies that I have and using the inspiration that they bring. Because truly, there is joy that comes from new supplies, yes, but there's also joy that comes from the supplies that you have used and that you know and that are perhaps in your stash and are even forgotten. So, if there's something that you're seeing here and you're like, oh, that's really interesting, I really want to try it, by all means do, but also think about like, oh, is there anything that you're seeing in this video that you have already that perhaps this video reminds you to go and dig out and to explore and try it and have fun and enjoy it. So as I say, it was a very wonderful day. I walked from choosing keeping all the way to Cornelissen's just so that I could have a look, and that is when I made and recorded this video, and I was just blown away because I didn't really know what to expect, but it's almost like an in-between an in-between the London Graphic Centre and choosing keeping. And what I mean by that is that it has the more commercial watercolor brands and gouache brands and just art supply brands in general that are also found in London Graphic Centre, although London Graphic Centre has more. But then it also has this super unique feel to it, which is one of the special things about choosing keeping. You know, it feels one of a kind, and so does Cornelissen's, as you are seeing in this video. I had such a wonderful time in the store, just looking through different supplies, imagining the possibilities, what I could create with them, looking at colors, at swatches. You know, it's a completely different experience being in a store, especially one that feels like it has so much history, and it just felt very, very special. There are so many art stores in London, and I haven't even attended or gone to all of them. But I would say that another one that I'd like to mention is Jackson's Art. There are two Jackson's Art supply stores in London. As it stands, they are my favorite art store. They are a short train ride away from Cornelissen's, but they have a wide range of good quality art supplies that both range from the more standard professional ones that we know, like the Winsor & Newtons, the Schminkes, the Senneliers, and so forth. But then they also have the newer ones that are paving the way that are exciting, including my very favorites, Roman Schmall and Etcher. And if you buy from them using my link down below and my code Sketches10, then you can get 10% off your order. As you can probably tell by my video on 25 ways that you can save money when buying art supplies, I like to share discount codes and different ways that you can save money so that your money will stretch further, as well as different ways that you can explore your art supplies. If you are still watching, then you are a real MVP, and I really, really, really appreciate you. Let me know that you are still watching by telling me your favorite art store. If you enjoyed this video and you love art supplies, then you will definitely love this series of next ones where I share my time in choosing keeping, Jackson's, London Graphic Centre, as well as other videos where I share not only the supplies that I bought, but also how I use them in my creative practice. Thank you so much for watching, and God bless. I'll see you next week. Bye.